Hey everyone, welcome back to Pine Hollow Auto Diagnostics. We have a juicy one today under the beached whale shade tree. 2008 Chevy Suburban. Just got dropped off. It's completely dead. Let's go over the customer complaint here and the history of the vehicle. I think it's got about 140,000 miles on it. So the customer said this vehicle's been off the road for over 4 months, and it's been at a local shop, and they are stumped, completely stumped here. He said at first the problem was intermittent. It was you'd be driving down the road, you hit a bump, you get the Christmas tree, it goes into kind of a limp mode, you shut it off, it's back to normal. Then it became a no crank. And what they did to get it started for a while was wiggle the wires here at this transmission control module. He said wiggle the wires, it fires right up and it goes. Now it's completely dead, no crank. The battery's spanked. I don't know, we'll put a charger on it. So that's where we are. We're dealing with this beached whale Chevy. Alright, let's get the top down Tornado 90,000 fired up. We're at 0 volts, 0.00. So we'll hit the start button, see if this battery accepts any current whatsoever. Sometimes batteries take an hour or two to even wake up after being at 0 volts. This might have a parasitic drain. I mean, this is crazy. 0.0 volts. It's ramping up a little bit. So we'll see what happens here. Let's fire up the scanner, scan it for code, see if it cranks or not. Alrighty, we got some power. Let's jump right in. Now the ECM has been replaced with a used unit, so we'll see if the VIN matches. I don't know if they programmed it or not. Automatically search. Reading for data, come on. Sure is taking a while. Do we have a network problem? It seems like it. First it was intermittent, now it looks like it might be completely out of the water. Yep, does not support read VIN. Please manually enter. Okay. Alright, here we go. Doing a full code scan. See what's online, see what's offline. ECM and TCM are already MIA. I'm wondering if the EBCM is online or not. BCM's talking. Didn't say any codes. I wonder why not. I think you should try to talk to the engine computer. So things on the body network seem to be pretty happy. Let's let this thing finish scanning and we'll be right back. Looks like we're almost at 200,000 miles, but I don't know if that reading is coming from the ECM or not, which has been replaced. But yeah, that's pretty high mileage. Alright, let's take a quick look at the health report. Fuel pump says lost comm with ECM, lost comm with TCM, body control module, EBCM, okay. The ABS says lost comm with PCM, TCM, BCM, and transfer case control module. Alright. So definitely these two, engine control module and transmission controller, are offline at the moment. So let's get a wiring diagram for powers, grounds, and communication lines and see if we can get these two guys back online. By the way, a little more history on the vehicle. So the ECM, this guy right here, was replaced with a used unit. The TCM was replaced with a brand new GM factory part. And the whole harness, the whole engine harness, all the way back to the transmission, was removed and painstakingly ohm checked pin by pin. And apparently everything checked out. So that's all I know with this truck. Alright, time for a little old-fashioned research. Wiring diagrams. So OE, high-speed bus, page 1 and page 2. I got them printed out. So let's take a look at this, and I took a picture of the RPO codes in the glove box. This truck is old enough to have that, which is very nice. So I went through, let's start with the DLC and see what we have and we don't have on this truck. So it does have UE1, so we do have this vehicle communication interface module. So from the DLC it goes to that and then to the next page. And also we have a leg going to our BCM, our TCM, and our ECM. Okay, great. What can we talk to? We can talk to the BCM. We can even pull up the health report here. We can talk to the fuel pump control module, transfer case control module. So let's just go through the diagram. We cannot talk to TCM or ECM. Okay, so this leg is dead. We can talk to the BCM, so we know we're good to at least here. And then, let's see, the VCIM, could we talk to that? Vehicle Communications Interface Module, there it is, setting no code, so that's fine. We'll check that off the list. Next page, we do have the NQH RPO. We can talk to the transfer case control module. So that's online. Come down here, we can talk to the EBCM. It has the JL4 RPO. Come over here, fuel pump control module. Yep, we can talk to that. And then data link resistor. We do not have this electronic suspension control module. So this all looks good all the way to the BCM, and then right here is our problem. Now they said they wiggled the wires somewhere close to the TCM, and the thing would intermittently, be fine. So first thing I'm suspecting, great place to check is X109, because we're good through the BCM. And then, what's the plan of attack? Let's put an ohm meter right at pins 6 and 14. We can disconnect the battery. We don't need the scanner anymore. We don't need the battery anymore. We just need an ohm meter. And I expect we're going to see 120 ohms because this data link resistor, one of them, is in the engine control module, which is offline. This one right here, at the end of the other side of the tree, I assume is fine because we can talk to everything else. So step 1, ohm meter right here, pin 6 and 14. Let's get that set up, and then let's look up where this X109 lives. We can split the network there, do an ohm measurement that way, do an ohm measurement this way. So under locations, X109 with an NQH RPO, 38 cavities. It's the engine harness to instrument panel harness, left side of the engine compartment below the fuse block under hood. Great place to start. So we don't. Do we have the HP2? J, C, D, E, F, G. There's no H codes, so without. So this one, I can show you a location or the connector view. So let's get the ohm meter out and then go to under this fuse box. Alright, here we are, pin 6 and 14. Got our trusty Astro amp clamp. First you want to measure the voltage across the pins, make sure the network is asleep, or just disconnect the battery altogether. We're just going to do it with the battery connected. So 4 millivolts, that's fine. Let's look at the ohms. 136 ohms. Okay, well that's obviously an open circuit going towards the engine computer. So what we're going to do is put this over there by the fuse box and maybe wiggle the wires and go for that connector X109. Alright, here we go. So we have 140 ohms on our meter. Maybe we can even put it on this right here. Okay, perfect. Now let's wiggle the wires right here. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Nothing, nothing, nothing. I mean, they have this whole harness apart. Can you believe it, guys? Maybe this is our connector, X109, 136. Let's get this fuse box out of the way, or somehow get under there and take a look at this connector. Okay, so it's important to make sure you're on the right connector, and one of the easiest ways to do that is just look at the pinouts. So on the diagram, we're looking for pin A8, that's the tan and black wire, pin 6, the high-speed can, positive, and then the other side, pin 14, comes on this tan wire, and that's four-wheel drive is B10. So A8 and B10, it's going to be right there and right there. So right next to each other, tan and black and tan wires. And this corner, pin A1, see the first two wires is orange and white and yellow. That's a great way to identify this connector. Okay, so I got the fuse box kind of propped up, got this connector out where we can see it. There's the orange and white and yellow, so that must be pin A1 and A2. A8, sure enough, is the tan and black. And right above that, in the next row, row B, is the tan wire. So that's perfect. We've got our ohm meter. Let's unplug this connector right now. Let's see if that resistance changes at all. Look, 120. It changed to 120. Perfect. Now we can easily use the ohm meter to check the resistance going this way, and that just goes to the TCM and the ECM from this connector forward, just two modules. Then we can check the resistance going that way towards the BCM. Alright, first resistance check is on the body side, that connector, 120 ohms towards the BCM. So that's fantastic. Now let's do the ohm check going towards the ECM and PCM. So now we're on this side of the harness, the engine side, going towards these two modules. Open circuit. Okay, fantastic. So we know the problem is from here to here to here. And that took what? Maybe half an hour of doing some research and a few ohm checks. Why would you rip off the entire engine harness and do all that unnecessary work, possibly creating more problems? You know, this is pretty basic stuff that if you just watch a few videos and pull up a few diagrams, print them out with an ohm meter. You know, you don't need a scope. We didn't use a scope yet. Nothing fancy. So let's track that network now. It goes through the TCM to the ECM. This is the terminating resistor in here. So we've got some network wires in this connector. Let's go after that next, do some ohm checks. Okay, so just to recap what we just did in the last minute, we disconnected X109, measured the resistance going that way across these two wires, 120 ohms, fantastic. Going this way, infinity. So there's an open circuit somewhere in this tree. So next step is the TCM. Let's unplug that and measure at pins. Well, do we have the MYC RPO? Let's see what pins we're going for here, and then it should be we're almost there. Okay, so we do not have the MYC RPO, so we're going for pins 38 and 37, and then pins 7 and 6 are going to be going towards this ECM. Let's find those. Alright, so I got the TCM connector unplugged, got the cover off. We're measuring on pins 6 and 7, just front probing them. That's going back towards connector X109, which I plugged back in. Let's see what the ohm meter reads. 120. So we're getting real close now. So that way, 120. Check. So the problem is going to be between here and the ECM. We're getting really close. Let's check pins. Actually, no. Wait a second. I just checked pins 6 and 7, that way, 120. So let's check pins 38 and 37. So when you get real close to making the kill shot, you can make mistakes. I've run into this before, and it's like you get excited, then oh crap, we didn't measure on the right pins. So now let's measure back towards connector X109. Alright, pins 37 and 38. Let's look at the ohm meter. 122. So we're good that way. We're good this way. We got a brand new TCM. What could the problem possibly be? Well, when you're probing these pins, you have to check the pin tension. So right in this corner, you know, these pins are kind of the round style. You know, my needle probe actually goes in and there is a little bit of tension. If you check the good pins, there's a little bit of tension. This corner pin, it's loose, completely loose. That one is, yeah. So again, someone was using a fat probe to check network wires. Didn't we just see this on the Nissan Titan? So we have loose pins at this TCM connector. So how do we fix that? We try to depin them, close them up a little bit. You can try to get in there with a needle probe and try to close them up. It's full of dielectric grease. It's kind of a mess. You know, it's a shame. It's a damn shame that this happens. And after fixing these pins, I mean, that's a nice drag in all these. These two corner ones completely spread wide open. That one's kind of loose. That one's better. I guess that one's okay. No drag at all. No drag at all on these two network pins. So we have to fix that. Alright, so to close up these pins, I know it's not really pretty, but just stuck a pick right in between them and kind of smushed them so they're not quite round anymore, but all we need is them to be centered and for them to drag on my needle probe. So that has a little bit of drag now. That one has some drag. So I'm going to plug this in and we're going to measure the resistance now. We can go back to the DLC and get a reading off of that. Alright, so there's the 120. I'm just going to gently plug in the TCM connector. There's only one way that can go. Like so. Now remember, I'm going to be real gentle with this. Look at that, 60, 120. It's still not quite there. If I tweak it like this, these two pins are still not 100% happy. 120, 60. So let me tweak those a little more. We're basically done. Under an hour, no parts required. Just beautiful. Alright, here we go. This is looking promising. I'm going to latch that in. 60 ohms. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. 60 ohms. Let's, this thing should fire right up. I checked the engine oil. That seems to be plenty full. It's not clean, but should be okay for startup. And our battery, let's see how that's doing. About 10 amps going in. Okay, well it's accepting something, about 7 amp hours. Let's fire it up, hook up the scanner. Should be in business. Alright, automatically search. Should read the VIN. Suburban 4-wheel drive. 6959. 6959. Okay, so the VIN does look correct. That's a good thing. They must have programmed that in, I guess. I'll give you the GM questionnaire here. Automatic HVAC. under 8,600 pounds without RPO, Z95. And let's just scan everything. Here we go, ECM's online. TCM is still offline. How about that? FPCM's offline? That's strange. Alright, let's open this up. Lost comm with TCM, fuel pump control module. So ECM has stored all these codes. Now it's back online. Let's just clear everything out and rescan it. You know, do a key cycle. The transmission controller should be online. Unless it wasn't programmed or something. So back out. Will it start? Let's try it. Nope, still no crank. Let's scan it. TCM is green. Fuel pump control module is offline. Uh-oh. So now that we restored the network, now we have to undo the parts cannon. I wish the guy brought all the original modules. He said he doesn't have the original ECM. Like, why wouldn't you keep it? I might have to make a few phone calls to see if we can get the original parts. Like, why is this thing not cranking? That might be a separate issue, but we restored the communication here, and that was step one.